Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Was very conky about these challenges and then haha, they got very difficult. It's Pride Day. This one is a little bit on the easier side. $3 bill, rainbow baby. And there you go, there's your seed. Not that you can do anything with it, now that I think about it. Whoa! I got real fast on this room. I also got Guppy's head. You know what? I'm gonna say, and this is, you know, a bit, we're anthropomorphizing the troll engine here. No. But, no! Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna take it as the game apologizing, okay? For the brains run, we really, I mean, the I rule run, as much as I think that it's a challenge where, you know, if they wanted you to go to the negative path, I know that they only drop the negative, but they should also only spawn the negative, and I would love, or only spawn the negative path, I mean, and I would love to hear counter arguments, considering there's many other challenges in the game where they choose to force you to go one path and thus only spawn the path in that direction, unless the joke is, haha, you weren't paying attention. It's like going to a ski hill, and they're like, well, today to get up the mountain you gotta walk. Oh, you got used to the ski lifts, did you? Well, sorry. Looks like you took it for granted, you millennial. Once you climb up the mountain, you're not going to forget ever again, are you? I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor, does it? Anyway, the point is, millennials, something. They like avocados on toast. They hate chain restaurants the most. Millennials. You guys like Robbie Williams? Basically, I just asked you a question to determine whether or not you're British. Okay. That song went big over here. I mean, there was like a cultural, like a widespread, I don't want to call it virulent, but I was thinking back, we were talking about it on the show somewhat recently. We're like, ah, you fool. There were like 6 years where every cultural import, I feel, to North America was from England. Like from probably like 1995 Oasis sort of Wonderwall era. Ooh. Oh, I can't change it. Fair enough. Until like, you know, Mambo No. 5 and Livin' La Vida Loca. It was British as far as the eye could see. We got the Spice Girls. We got Five. We got Lifehouse. We got Bewitched. We got the Coors. I know that they're not British. I don't really, again, please, I know you guys have you got a history of, you know, some discontent when it comes to, you know, British, Irish, Scottish, United Kingdom, Albion, etc., etc. It's the same as the Scandinavia versus Nordic versus Baltic, okay? Anytime a North American misrepresents, you know, Scottish or Irish as being British when it's not actually British, all you gotta say is that North Americans are ignorant. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I think we learn a lot about our own history. We just don't necessarily learn that much about European history. And because, you know, if you're in Europe, that's just called history. It makes us seem like we're ignorant. Although I would not argue that maybe we're a little bit historically undereducated relative. But the point is, we don't know that stuff, okay? Like, we got our own issues. We got our own battles to fight on our own soil. That's what Eminem said in that song. Make me guppy. Oh my god, we win. Thank you so much for your help, game, but still. And I gotta say, the European invasion over here, you know, was only halted by the rise of Latin culture. Mark Antony, who I always call Mark Antony accidentally. Yeah, who doesn't know history now, nerds? Part of the second triumvirate of Rome, also sang the song I Need to Know, also married Jennifer Lopez. The immortal Mark Antony / Anthony. So there's a new show on Netflix, and it's called Empire Games. And it has made me very upset. I know a lot of my bits these days are just, hey, there's this new show on Netflix. Most of it, I'll tell you, dude, I love Forensic Files. I already did the piece that I needed to say about Forensic Files, but I love it. I would highly recommend it if you're into true crime, mostly just on breadth of episodes. It's kind of like a True Crime Isaac. There's always going to be an episode around for you if you're interested. But there's a new show called Empire Games, and, you know, I am not a historian, but I find history interesting, because sometimes, you know, the truth is stranger than fiction. And also, the fact that it's real makes it a little bit more interesting, I think, in some situations at least. However, I gotta say, Netflix, you're doing yourselves a disservice. I'm going to explore everything, because otherwise we're going to finish this run in like 5 minutes. And I got a lot to talk about, okay? Empire Games, it illuminated for me a question that I want to ask you. Why does every single historical show, or any show detailing history whatsoever, have to follow the same mind-numbing, boring formula? Now, this sounds very judgmental. It's just one man's opinion, but tell me you disagree. If you do, I would love, because I want to enjoy these shows more. You know, I've watched a lot of the usually like European-produced pseudo-documentary, pseudo-reenactment sort of historical television shows. I'm so bored of the formula by now, because here's what happens. They open with like a sweeping aerial or drone shot over like, you know, like the Parthenon or something like that, and then they go, you know, some guy with a deep voice who kind of sounds like Bear Taffy goes like, "Ancient Greece, the birthplace of philosophy, mathematics, and democracy. What was life like back in ancient Greece, and what were the lives like of those who shaped it, and those who were shaped by it? Find out this and more, you know, on this episode of Empire Games." And then they have, and I don't want to call them a nerd just to be insulting, but they'll have like 6 historians, and they'll be like, "In Rome, they used clay pots," and then they'll show like a reenactment of some actor, you know, putting coins into a clay pot or something like that. It's boring. And it's not because the history is boring, it's just because that formula is like so played out. You know, like, I used to be of the opinion, and maybe this has changed as I've gotten older and not as the medium has changed. Hey, that's actually bad, but, you know, I used to be of the opinion that these true crime shows were boring, but then they got revitalized, you know, basically by true crime podcasts, and instead of just being like, you know, boring, and that's when they found the fingerprints, you know, it became a much more human interest story sort of thing. And I find all these shows are like, they give you like almost no information, and then I actually don't understand who on planet Earth, because I have to imagine that they're like, well, we need the reenactments to hook people. Who is watching these history shows that is going, oh, I really want to see a reenactment of, you know, Julius Caesar being stabbed 26 times on the steps of the Senate, you know? You can imagine that in your own head. The people watching these shows, I mean, unless they're exclusive, and this might be the case, unless they're exclusively made for, you know, history teachers in middle school and high school to show on days where they're hungover, and that might be the case, I don't know. It just seems like a little bit unnecessary to try to fluff it up. And you're like, tell me how you really feel, but I feel like history, you know, it gets such a bad rap because people think it's just about memorizing, you know, dates and details and the locations of battles and whatnot, but really it's, you know, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the people that are there. You're like, Julius Caesar, yeah, I mean, definitely, like, you know, one of history's greatest men and also potentially one of history's greatest monsters, you know? Weird thing about history is, like, the further away you get from it, you're like, well, Julius Caesar really accomplished a lot. Yeah, but, you know, basically single-handedly led to the deaths of, like, hundreds of thousands or possibly even, like, millions of individuals. But, okay, anyway, the point is, you know, he's a person. He's a man. Like I am. And when you put yourself in the shoes of Julius Caesar and you go, dude, like, at 24, this dude's leading, you know, an army to conquer half of the known world. You know, doesn't that become more interesting? It becomes a little bit more relatable. Instead, every single show like this is like, you know, Sven Bergstrom from the University of Dublin. Well, you know, life in ancient Rome was very wild. They wore olive branches on their heads. And I'm not mad at Sven, okay? Sven's just doing his job. He's doing what he's told. I'm mad at the editors, the producers, the director, the writers, etc., etc., etc. You don't need to lie about history in order to make it interesting. You just got to present it perhaps a more relatable fashion. It's magic mush, guaranteed. Told you. You just can't, it's invisible magic mush. But instead, every single show is these interspliced. Dude, I think we take all of it just for sport. Give me the damage. Of nerds talking, and nerds are my people, I understand. With, you know, these, like, second-rate reenactments of things that you can easily imagine. It's just a played-out formula. I will say, at least in contrast to much of the stuff on the History Channel, at least Empire Games, you know, it's like mindless entertainment, and that's fine. But it's also, like, you know, real, instead of, like, half the stuff on the History Channel this day and age is like, oh, maybe. We're not saying Hitler's still alive, but, like, maybe. We're not saying he's not. All we're doing is asking the question and selling you advertisements, but it's just, could be so much more. If anything, I feel bad from Sven Bergstrom from the University of Dublin, because you know, he's probably struggling to talk to other people about his passion, even though he finds it so interesting. And then, you know, he gets approached like, hey, you want to be the talking head in our Netflix program about the thing that you're highly specialized in? And he goes, yeah, that sounds nice. And then, probably tells them all sorts of cool stuff. And then they're like, well, in ancient Rome, they ate garum, a very primitive form of fish sauce. And he's like, that's what you chose out of everything I told you? You chose to tell them about the garum? In the most boring way. And then you show, like, a dude wearing a toga eating a piece of flatbread or something like that with some paste on it. Like, thank God I couldn't have imagined that for myself. I'm just saying, okay? It doesn't have to be like a boring history lecture or something like that, but, you know, if it's supposed to be like historical entertainment, could it at least, you know, make the effort to make it entertaining instead of boring but also, like, largely devoid of academic merit? At least, like, do one thing well and the other thing badly. So I am going to use potato peeler. I'm kind of like, I'm of the opinion we should stomp this run. Why not, right? Got a long way to go. You know, if we go fast enough, I'll tell you what, not just to pad the length of the video, but also to... to add a little bit more je ne sais quoi, especially as we have a very, very good chance to become Guppy, Mom's Knife or otherwise. I think I will actually probably try to make the hush fight happen here. Do the hush fight. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, okay? And maybe you should, you know, take it with a grain of salt, you know? It's just a Netflix original show. I don't know why you're getting so bent out of shape. I'm just getting bent out of shape because it could be better. I mean, I don't know, maybe the show had like a $3 budget, but simultaneously... I'm keeping this, by the way, because we could teleport out of Boss Rush. Or we could do Boss Rush, but why not teleport out given the choice, right? It just could be better. I love, and as much as this is a little dorky, I love edutainment programming. Because, I mean, you know, as much as it opens me and exposes me to, like, being a caricature of myself, sometimes it's fun to, like, watch something where you can also learn a little bit while you watch it. And it's not really, it disguises learning, in my opinion at least. Because it's not like, wow, I'm becoming smarter while I watch. It's more like, it tricks you. Like, you watch the HBO miniseries about John Adams' life, and you don't even think about, like, oh, I'm learning about John Adams, the second president of the United States. You go, wow, there's a lot of intrigue happening back here in, you know, 1700s New England. That's the best kind of entertainment. Now, admittedly, helps when you got, you know, Oscar-winning actor Paul Giamatti. Do some more exploration. I'm just throwing it out there that I don't see why it has to be so bad. And also, who on earth... Like, it just strikes me as like a money-making scheme, to be honest with you. Like it's a low-budget thing to try to like flip a documentary series to Netflix and make, I don't know, 10 grand or something like that. You know what the world needs? So how about another series talking about the rise and fall of Julius Caesar? What are you going to do differently? Are you going to, I don't know, is it going to be like big budget? Or are you going to focus on like his young life before the, you know, the conquering of Gaul and, you know, basically becoming a dictator? No, I think we're just going to do, we're going to call Sven up. You know, he's got a lot of experience talking about these things. He's really good at it. So we'll just call him up and then, I don't know, we'll just let him talk for a while and then we'll hire some students from like the local acting school and we'll get them to pretend to be Roman or whatever, and, you know, then we'll flip it to Netflix for like 75 grand. So I'm thinking we can knock this out in a couple of weeks. We'll get somebody who's not part of the voice actors union so we can pay them lower than scale, and it'll just work out. Don't worry about it. That's what it strikes me as. Dude, I hate the History Channel. Can I be honest with you? You know what the History Channel is? It's like, the History Channel is in the Rocky arc. You know, where Rocky 1, Sylvester Stallone was like, I want to make a movie not just about boxing, but about, you know, this guy with a lot of disadvantages finding a place for himself in the world and figuring out, you know, what it means to be a, you know, a local hero while also getting his face punched in. Like, there's actually nuance in Rocky, and I think people have, since Rocky Balboa and Creed and now Creed 2, they're starting to become more widespread in that belief, which is good, because it's true. But, you know, a couple of those Rocky movies got real bad. I will maintain, Rocky 4 is a bad movie within the context of Rocky. It's a great movie within the context of, like, The Expendables, don't get me wrong. Rocky single-handedly defeats, you know, the USSR with the power of his fists. It's unbelievable. Drago! But anyway, the History Channel is like, you know, some dude named like, you know, Thaddeus Stuffington was like, there should be a channel on television where people can learn more about the world around them. And then we're on Rocky 5, where, you know, Thaddeus, you know, is all coked up and old and weathered, and he's like, more ancient aliens. The people love ancient aliens. I don't know, it's like the oldest bit in the internet history right now. You don't need another person to be like, is that really history? But simultaneously, at least A&E, when I was a kid, A&E was like the channel that played like, you know, I guess that's on PBS, but they played stuff like Masterpiece Theater. Like, you would turn on A&E and it would be like a weird, you know, British version, like, TV movie about, like, an Agatha Christie novel. Now A&E is like, my son is addicted to huffing gasoline, and let's have an intervention. It's also Storage Wars, but still. At least it's, like, entertaining, as much as that sounds terrible. It is exploitative, but I can't deny, you know, like, Hoarders, Storage Wars not so much, but Hoarders, you know, intervention. And there's a human benefit to watching those shows, I think, beyond just like, haha, you know? The History Channel just strikes me as like, it's like a finger curling on the monkey's paw. I want to own a television network that promotes history and historical knowledge for all the people out there sitting at home on their couch. It'll be like a university and you only have to pay $40 a month for it. And then the finger curls on the monkey's paw and you got the dude with the crazy hair being like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Can we talk about the fact that we do not have a hush fight? This makes me very upset, and I'm going to explain to you why it makes me very upset. Every other frigging challenge has the hush fight. Dude, we could get an error room. You got to try. But this one, the one where I want to do it, doesn't have it. Why? 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 I don't understand. So what we will do here, and you know, you're gonna add, just if you want to end the video, just end the video. No, it's not like that, okay? I like the stream of consciousness. I like to talk. I feel like if we finish a video at 19 minutes, it's like I haven't even gotten into it. 22 minutes, now we're talking. I'm tired. But you know, most YouTubers who are like, oh, I gotta get the video to a certain length, you know why they do it, right? Like, if you follow any kind of like YouTube drama, which you shouldn't because you should respect your time. But the reason they do it is because YouTube doesn't let you put what's called a mid-roll advertisement in the middle of the video unless your video is over 10 minutes in length, which is fair because otherwise most of YouTube would be top 10 Fortnite moments from this 12-hour block. You won't believe what number 6 is, and there would be an advertisement after each one, and the comments would be people going, I hate these advertisements, but it would still get like, you know, 5 million views per video. And I'm not jealous. I'm saying that is human nature. If anything, I just lament the state of, well, you know, hold on a second here. Things are a little spooky. Sure, I'll take 100 damage to step on 4 things. That sounds like a good use of my time. If anything, I'm mostly just mad at, you know, evolution for giving us the power to get big brains before we knew what to do with them. But anyway, I don't do that. You know, I do put mid-rolls in the NLSS VODs because, you know, those are 3 hours long. But apart from that, here's the thing. I'm an internet consumer. I don't want you to see, you know, 4 minutes of ads in a 30-minute product. That just seems like sometimes this will let you go down. It just seems like I'm biting the hand that feeds. But anyway, hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to pick up my t-shirts. No. D8. Good item. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Now, thanks for watching. We'll be back with, I think it's Onan Streak next. So, you know, be careful what you wish for. Things are about to get tricky. Of course, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Northernlion to be notified when we go live in the future. For now, though, thanks for watching. And I will see you next time. See ya!